Rex,
Curtis.
how long have we been trying to do this?
A hot minute, bro. Like, I was trying to think, like, the first time we met was in Wales, which I just found out from your lovely wife, was about 7 or so years ago.
Just 7.
Thereabouts. It was 7, 8, whatnot years ago. I'm not sure, a long time ago. That's the first time we met. And we probably met a few times thereafter since church. But I believe, like, you're of a similar, type of person that I'd like to associate with.
Okay.
Like...
I'm in.
I feel like, your wife, my wife, the whole connection, like, even though it's just been a few times that we've met, the synergy was there. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why it's been this long, but we come through and we, as I was saying before, and we just literally hit the ground running like I saw you last week.
Yeah.
And I saw you some years ago, I think.
Well, 7 years ago, maybe once in another location, and then Instagram.
Been seeing you a lot on Instagram.
Yeah, that's why I caught you, because you called me up, and I'm like, no, you were talking to me anonymously.
Yes.
And then I sent my number thinking, okay, who's this guy? Is he from America? Is he going to invite me to come and do a major project, some major money?
Okay.
But that didn't happen, it was you. Which was great, it was awesome. I was like, Rex,
you never know,
you were talking to me for about 10 minutes.
I was talking to you for 10 minutes, yes.
And then I was like, and then you revealed yourself.
I did, and before you carry on, please do not reveal what that brand was.
Fine.
There's a whole reason behind that, but...
Fine, I know that, you told me.
Yes, thank you very much. But yes, it was me, and we were talking for 10 minutes, and he didn't know it was me. And then when we found out, it was nice, especially being in the UK, because we do see a lot of this stuff, done in the US and what have you, so it's nice to have, people cut from the same cloth, in my opinion, repping the kingdom in this particular arena of marriage.
Bro, you're married. How long have you been married now?
I'm married over 4 years. September let me even try and remember dates, but I would have said September the 6th, I think.
Okay, when is your marriage, what date did you get married?
September the 6th.
This is on...
This might need to get cut in it, but...
it's not getting cut?
Yeah, so September...
Sometime in September.
Early September, I'm pretty sure September the 6th. Do
you want to confirm it?
Not yet.
We've got to do it for the camera.
We may have to.
Where's your phone?
You have to call my wife and ask, Let's not bait me up here, because I know she may see this, but Bubs, wherever you are, whichever camera you're looking on, don't worry about it. 4 years we've been married. Over 4 years. Let's move on.
4 years, but how long have you been together?
Good question. We got together in 2009. So that would make it 9 years. August 2009.
10 years now.
Yeah. More or less.
Yeah.
Yes, more or less.
Respect.
That's funny, because you say that, and it kind of doesn't feel like that for me in particular, and I think she'll say the same. And I kind of liken it to, there's that dictum where people say, time flies when you're having fun. I honestly believe there's truth in that. I think there's truth in that, because time has flown. Time has flown, and I still want to go and see her. After this interview, I'm going to see her. And
looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Genuinely looking forward to it.
And now, you see what you just said there?
Yes.
I want people to take that spirit, because there is a real struggle out there.
Okay, yep.
So we're two guys talking. You actually want to go home to your wife.
Yes, I do.
Now, this isn't about me, this is about you.
Okay.
Hold on. That's it. Rex.
Give a little background to your relationship story. Our background is kind of interesting. So, I actually met my wife when I was 15. I'm 34 now. I met her at a black enrichment course. At the time...
Black enrichment?
A black enrichment course in Liverpool Hope University. So at the time, there was this sort of movement from a professor in University of Liverpool. She noticed that there wasn't that many kids from Afro-Caribbean backgrounds in maths and sciences and computing. That's what she saw. And then so she went to a bunch of faith-based schools, of which mine was one and Nisa's was another, to come to Liverpool for a week. And we would just do, like science experiments and mathematical classes. And then in the weekend, we go to Wales and just have like an outing. And so in 2009, it was my second time on a trip. It was Anita's first time on a trip. She came through. I saw her, she saw me. I was like, nah, man.
Nah, man.
I'm like, you know what it is? Because I actually thought I could tell that she was a good girl. I could tell she was a good girl. I wasn't a bad guy. I wasn't a bad guy. I wasn't. What I'll say is like, this is the sort of girl that you wife down. And at that particular point in life, I wasn't really looking to wife down this girl. The truth of the matter is, I was actually after her best friend at the time. But that's another story.
She knows this, right?
She does know this, for full disclosure, everybody. I'm not saying nothing that she don't know. And so, like, afterwards, to be fair, I might as well drop this bit as well. So I heard there was a little rumor that, oh, Anita likes me on the trip. And I was a confident guy, man. I must have called her up and was like, yeah, so you know what?
I heard you like me.
I heard you like me, innit?
You want me.
And she was like, no, who told you that? I was like, you sure? Are you sure? Like, are you sure you don't like me? Like, are you sure?
Look again.
And what she would tell you, and she'll be honest, she was like, at the time that she knew that I was not interested in her at the time. And so she blew me off and was like, no, I'm not gonna feed his ego anymore. So she didn't. And fast forward some years, and basically me and her kept in touch. We always kept in touch. And I know that she was always someone that I'd have a good conversation with. Like, we had a similar upbringing, similar background. We're both Ghanaian, so a similar base, and all that sort of thing. And yeah, she was a good friend. She was a really good friend. And like, you know, I'd tell her about my girlfriends and stuff. She'd tell me about her boyfriends and stuff. And then what happened was I became born again. And I took my faith really seriously. And I was with someone at the time. And it got to a point where it was like, I gotta be honest, I can't be sexing on Sunday morning and then singing praise and worship on Sunday afternoon. I felt like I was serving two masters. And the Bible says it's not really about that. So I'm like, I have to make a decision. And I made a decision. And it was like, you know what? This can't run anymore. And so I broke up the relationship. And what I said to God is, listen, Lord, I'm not after no girlfriend no more. Like, I would like the next person I meet to be my wife. So let me handle your business and I'll let you handle mine. That's how I saw it. So it's almost like, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and everything else will be added on to you. So that was our agreement paraphrased. Fast forward 3 years, I'm getting to 25 and I'm like, oh, you know what? I think it'll be a good time for me, you know, to know who my wife is, whatever, because, you know, like, you want to wait 3 or so years to get to know them, whatever, and then marry. So that's exactly what happened. I asked God, and the important thing about me asking God, who is she? I was genuinely super open to who she would be. So what I mean by that is, even if she was my ex-girlfriend, if God revealed to me that it was my ex-girlfriend, I'd be willing to go back and try and see, you know, I was open to what God was.
God's will.
I was open to God's will for my life, for sure. So I've just seen how it's been so far in the walk, and I was like, you know what? I'm at peace with what God's gonna decide. And so the truth of the matter is, I went through these girls in my head, and then out of nowhere, Anita popped in, and I'd never really considered her because she's been my friend. She's always had a man, and like, we never really saw each other like that. When I thought of her, I couldn't get her out of my head. I was like, nah, man, that's my friend. Like, how can it be? But she checked all the boxes. Like, she checked all my boxes. Some boxes I literally had written out, and some boxes I didn't. She checked every single one of them. And I was just like, whoa. So if I just, you know, quickly speed up the story, I then proceeded to, you know, meet up with her and stuff and just see if it can work, because I wasn't sure. And I saw it could work. We had banter, the conversation was good, she looked good. I'm like, you know what, this really can work. And then it just started to build from there for me. She had no idea. And then one day, I called her up and was talking. I said, hey, you know what, man? I know who she is. And she's like, oh my God, like, I'm so happy for you. Like, is it this girl? And I was like, nah. She's like, oh, is it this girl? Because she knows all my girlfriends, that sort of stuff. She's like, is it? Nah. I'm like, it's the girl on the other end of this line.
You're too smooth, you know.
Mic drop. Mic drop.
You're too smooth.
Mic drop. And that's what, she was quiet. She was quiet because I know she couldn't believe it. And I then proceeded to tell her why. And like, you know, in terms of the vision that God gave me and the plan that I've been on the sly, seeing if it could work, and I've seen that, you know, you're definitely someone I'd want to have children with, and I could see raising my family, I have a peace and all this sort of stuff. All this stuff is way too much for her. It's like, what are you telling me? Like, because essentially I'm saying to her, you're the one. Like, I don't muck about with that. You're the one. And if we do end up going out, we're going to get married. So I went in there with that in mind. At the time, she did have a partner at the time. things weren't going too well, but the conviction that I had was that I couldn't let her go down the aisle with anyone unless she knew how I felt. So I told her how I felt, and she said, "Oh no, you know what? It's fine. We're just friends." I'd be upset, but then I'd have to pick myself back up and keep it moving. That's what I would have thought I'd have to do. But as it happened, their relationship ended naturally, and then we picked up. Excuse me, and here we are. So that's the background. Sorry if it's a bit long-winded, but that's how we got here.
How many years of marriage again?
4 years, bro.
It's 4 years. and if I was to say to you, happily married.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being definitely.
Yeah.
Where is it?
10.
You have to say that though.
No.
Go on.
I keep it real.
Go on.
I keep it real because it's such a loaded question. Like where we're getting to is very, very loaded and full of a lot of stuff. I can say most definitely because when you ask me that question, I've got to consider the 4 years. I've got to consider how I feel today, how I felt at our lows, how I felt at our highs.
Yeah.
Am I assured within myself that I love this woman and that I want to be with this woman and I want to go and see her after this? Yes. No shadow of a doubt. I mean, like, obviously, that does not mean my marriage is perfect. It does not mean that. It just means that my expectations are being managed.
Interesting.
That's what it means. We might just free fall on this topic right here. I'm telling you, but it's okay. All right.
All right. Listen, you're going deeper than this piece of paper, right?
Sorry.
Expectations.
All right. Do we need to go there right now?
You sip.
Let me sip.
Yeah, you started it, so we're gonna have to do something. Expectations.
Yes.
I remember I had, for the relationship,
For your relationship?
For my relationship, sorry. Completely false expectations. And I would say my expectations were being built were being built over since I was about 15, as I started to mature and I'm starting to think about girls.
For what marriage would look like for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
for a relationship and marriage.
Right, okay, I was going to say. Okay.
Without a concept of marriage, a good concept, a good baseline.
Okay.
By the time I was getting married at 25, I realized that all my expectations as to how I thought it should go, most of them are in the bin. Now, I just want to be clear, that does not mean I'm happily married, yeah?
Put that disclaimer out there, boy.
And my wife is on the...
My wife's on the camera, so, it's by force.
But
and I got a sniper on it.
Hey, listen.
Got a red dot on my head, yeah? So that doesn't mean that I am unhappy. That means I have learned how to be happy. Because my perception is being corrected.
Yes.
I'll let you take the mic.
I'm glad you've got to that point because some people don't get that far. Some people...
They drop out early.
And it's a shame because I feel like those vows that you say on your wedding day are there for a reason. Like there's some foresight being put into these vows. For richer, for poorer.
Right,
that's
right.
bad. You know what? No one gets married for poorer, for sicker, and what's the other one? For worse.
Sickness and in health.
Sickness.
Yeah.
So you're not getting married for
poorness,
poorness, sickness, and you're not getting married for the bad things. You all think, for richer and richer, like that's great, but guess what? Life is like this. Yeah. And there's gonna be some lows. There's going to be some real lows. And it's about how you navigate those lows. And I'm thankful for the lows that we've had.
Wow.
Yes.
How can you be grateful for lows?
You've got to be. Because I feel that's where you see the true essence of the person that you've married. Because some in these lows, unfortunately for me, these have been life or death situations. And it's like, how do you handle that? Especially, so as a man, how do you handle that when the control's been taken from you? It's out of your hands. Like, it's on your wife, I'm the one who runs, I'm the one who goes to the gym, I'm the one who's fit, I can take this, but you're the one dealing with it. So right now I'm actually talking about childbirth. I'm talking about childbirth and child loss.
Go on.
I might go there. So the long and short is that we lost 2 boys last year, 2017. That was a life and death scenario, especially for my wife.
Are you talking about two separate
incidents? We won't go too deep on this one, but the long and short, what I'm trying to gain from that insight is the fact that, you know what, my wife surprised me. Because, I don't know, when life is comfortable, it's easier. It's easy. You're not really tested as such. Life is easy. You can complain. You can talk about first world problems. You know, it's cold in this room. Let's turn the heating on. Do you know what I mean? Or put some slippers on or whatever. But when it's, do you know what, you have an infection that is pretty much fatal, like, how do you handle that? Like, I myself can't physically do anything. I've got to allow my wife to go through the process of, you know, being injected and having the meds take care of the infection and all these sort of things, especially when you're in a very fragile state. And I was proud of her because, like, you know, especially with child loss, you know, it's a very emotional, very traumatic scenario. But she was able to keep her composure. And why is she singing praise and worship songs in this situation? And I'm like, wow, this is a real situation. It's not like what you should do as a Christian. This is what came out of you. You felt the need to praise and worship. And I was like, God, you know what? You had wisdom in us two getting together. Trust me. Because, like, what we joke about, now coming out of that scenario there, what we joke about is how we got together was not conventional. I didn't meet her in the club and thought, that's a chung ting there, let me go and draw her and get her number and do that. You can do it that way, you see what I'm saying? This girl's been my friend for a long time. I'm now going to have to work with her to see if we are even attracted to each other. It's like backwards. Do you know what I mean? And like the fact that it's non-conventional, you know, through question marks. You know, do you really like me though? You know, if you saw me in the street, would you approach me? You know, them kind of ones, real questions. And I just feel like the way that God has directed my life, especially, I would have ended up with her. And I'm glad, but I feel like this girl's my other rib, if I'm honest with you. Like, marriage is easy, and I give it a 10 because of the relationship we've had. If I come back onto expectations, one thing I advocate in all marriages, because I talk to a lot of people that are in marital setups, and one thing I find interesting is that they don't communicate as well as they should.
This topic keeps coming up. Communication. Communication,
because this is why expectations are not managed. This is probably why you went in there, you know, with the expectations you had, not because you didn't have a conversation with your wife, but, you know, you had all these ideas. I had these ideas. I thought, as soon as I get married, you know what? Sex is on tap. Hallelujah.
Why do all men think this?
All men think this, boy. All men think, yes, it's on. It's on. Like, I was a happy man. Guess I don't go to sleep. A bit about myself. I don't go to sleep naked. I don't do that. I used to wear, you know, satin. You know, wear satin to the bed. And then my wife's like, nah, man, take it off. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Let's take it off. And she's like, good night. What do you mean, good night? What do you mean, good night? Like, I'm here.
Hello.
I'm ready to go. What do you mean? We're ready to go. What do you mean? Like, and that was new to me. And so it got to a point where it's like, put on the light, click. Babe, we got to talk. Because not that I can't run, but this is my expectation. I expect, if we're going to be starkers in the bed right now, something's going down. That's my expectation.
You owe me now.
Hey, listen, you set me up, right? And so it was a very real conversation. And I bring this conversation up because I don't think guys can be that honest. Some guys can, I'm glad they can. But I've talked to some people, and I kid you not, sex for them is a taboo.